All right, I'm live. I'm live, David. And thank you very much for your patience. You have the patience of a god. What a virtuous man you must be to wait that long. No, I'm just kidding. Obviously, I know, and I feel terrible for this. Just to let you know, and anyone else that might be joining the stream here, is I literally I was sitting down, was all ready to rock, ready to roll, had everything set up. It was about what 50 minutes to go live. So I was just tying up all the loose ends, making sure that everything's ready. Got my article set up that I wanted to reference and stuff. And beep, and not just one. And the beep is my electric fireplace or whatever you call it, fireplace thing. Anyways, it does a beep thing, and that's sticks here when the power is going off. You hear that thing go on and on, the beep, beep, and it did it 3 times. So we thought, oh, maybe it's just glitching. It's going to stay on, but nope. The third time, so I lost power. And knowing that this stuff happens, I even bought a generator. By the time I got all the generator, anyways, it was just too late. So I was like, I'm just going to have to. I said I have to. Actually, even with the generator, I could get power back. I could get my computer working, but I have to get the signal from a tower close by, and it didn't. So I wouldn't have had internet connection regardless. So yeah, once again, I apologize about the fact that my internet connection took a shit kicking. Like I said, I don't know what the hell is going on, but I seem to have constant issues. What's going on, Wendy? How are you doing? Nice to see you in the chat, Wendy. And like I was explaining to David, sorry about the disruption, but I had my power go out yesterday. A big old, screw up, obviously, and took hours to get it back. Now today, I'm hoping the power's on, but I've been having massive internet. What's going on there? Anyways, we were on the phone for about an hour and 40 minutes. Like I say, if this internet, just so you know, if the internet gets cut off, I'll try my best to get everything back up. But if it's going to be if it's going to screw things up, and I don't want to mess with you people. I mean, I get how this could be discouraging. I know it is for me, and if I was someone on the other side of things trying to watch this, I get how frustrating it would be. We were on the phone, like I say, with the guy for an hour and 40 minutes, went through everything. And the last time they replaced all the infrastructure. So the little dish thing up on there, because we have a satellite provider out here in the sticks. We have one option, right? And they've had to go multiple times. They've had to come out. And last time they replaced everything. Right? So just to make sure there was nothing that was left, I bought a new router. I'm actually using it was a waste of time because already today, 3 times this morning, I've lost internet. So, like I say, hopefully everything stays okay. Hopefully the quality's half decent. And I'm going to try to get right into the kind of stuff we were going to talk about today. Because, are we even speaking on the same language anymore? It doesn't seem that way, does it? It really, to me, it's almost as if we're speaking a completely different language. Well, those of us who understand liberty, right, from the philosophical sense, not the political sense, right? And then it seems the rest of the world's like, are we speaking a different language here? Like, because apparently people don't seem to grasp or understand, like even something as simple, what a right is. Like, what's a right? My rights, right? Or inherent and inalienable. Inherent and inalienable, just like I've said so many times in the past. And I always say, listen, if you don't want to take my word for it, just pick up a dictionary or type in your thing what inherent and inalienable means. It means that it can't be, it means it's guaranteed. There's no escape clause. There's no notwithstanding clause, right? Well, the Trudeau government, or I mean, when Trudeau's daddy wrote the Charter of Rights, is like, oh, we're going to give you all these rights. Oh, that's the thing. Government don't grant you rights, right? Governments just are supposed to recognize and acknowledge your rights and never infringe on them. That's the whole point of that, right? But like I say, today, it's completely flipped upside down to the point where government tells you what they consider to be your rights, whether they're positive or negative, because that's another thing too. Positive or negative rights. Do you understand the difference? I'm pretty sure most do. A negative right is you don't have any right to steal from me, to use force or violence or anything like that against me. That's a negative right. And you know what? It can be universalized because it doesn't require any effort or force anyone else to do anything other than just to restrain that from using force, violence, or theft on each other. Whereas a lot of people today in the political realm, especially in particular leftists, but I shouldn't even just say leftists because the conservatives are the same. Hey, talk about socialized healthcare to conservatives, right? They're all about my healthcare, right? So they're all about pause of rights. Because do you have a right to healthcare? No. Because for someone to provide you healthcare, if you have a right to it, that means someone has to provide it for you. And if someone has to do something for you, what, you have the right to enslave people at your whim? No, that's so once again, pause of rights. And this is something historically was understood, which is so weird that people hundreds of years ago did this. A couple hundred years later, and we've supposedly progressed to the point where nobody understands this. Well, that's not progress. Once again, that's regression. And I don't know how else better to explain it other than like it's done in this particular article, which I'm going to bring up. But anyways, like I say, thanks to you fine folks that have joined the chat. Like we're going to hope, cross our fingers, let's hope we can keep this mofo going for a little while. Because yeah, I got lots to say, got lots of things I want to get off my mind, off my chest today. Oh, and there's another thing too. I was talking, and should I get into the? I hate dealing with the personal stuff, but I get that some people love the gossipy stuff. So maybe I'm going to cover some gossipy stuff today, right? Right? Because I get, because there's some weird infighting, not so much like fighting, but just weird stuff going on here in Canada with people that are supposed to be part of the, at least what I would historically consider the liberty movement, or people who care about liberty, and typically we all seemingly or historically or for years and years we've all kind of been on the same page, and it's changing. Why is it? Rich, I see G Rich in the chat there. Thank you for joining the stream, my friend. And Stuart, thank you as well, Stuart. I see you down there. Okay, let me bring this article up. So, once again, the fine folks at the Foundation for Economic Education. If you're not paying attention to the FEE and all the amazing content they produce and provide, well, you're missing out big time. I'll try to help in that regard, and I'll do it right here in this video. And as I tend to do in many occasions. So as you see, rights and non-rights, a simple way to distinguish the two. And this is something you can teach to just a little child. So like I say, we're all adults here. Right? And once again, this is the part, I like how other people have even said, like, when I'm saying this stuff, I've said this before. Obviously, I'm not saying to you, but what I always think and what I hope is that you'll share this stuff, right? This video or this stream, with some people that you really think should hear it. Because at the end of the day, it's really important that happens. And I know it'll make them uncomfortable and stuff, but those are the people we need to reach, right? I'm all good. I'm good with preaching to the choir, but the choir is already well versed. Right? So, anyways, a simple way to distinguish the two. Despite the centrality of rights in American history, it's readily apparent today that Americans are of wildly different views on what a right is, how many we have, where rights come from, or why we have any in the first place. This was actually from back January 18th, 2019. But that's the thing. Lawrence Reed is the one that was the contributor, and it's reshared. That's the thing about these this kind of information. It doesn't stop, right? Math 2 + 2 is the same in 2019 as it is in 2021. So the rights are the same no matter when the article was produced. That are equally free and independent and have certain inherent rights of which when they enter into a state of society, they cannot, by any compact, deprive or divest their posterity, namely the enjoyment of life and liberty, with the means acquiring and possessing property and pursuing and obtaining happiness and safety. George Mason, and this was in the Virginia Declaration of Rights, 1776. Rights the 2020 campaigns for president of the United States, we can expect rights to be the news every day as they're promised to us one after another. You have a right to this or that. And if elected, I'll make sure you get it. Will soon be monotonous refrains. America is a nation founded on the notion of rights. Our independence was declared in 17 of unalienable rights granted to us, not by moral authorities, but by the Creator himself. So once again, even for the atheists among us, right? You don't have to believe in God. You don't have to be a believer. Hey, you do you. But you got to recognize we come from somewhere, right? Right? The Big Bang, sounds good in theory. And even if you go with that, something happened that created the Big Bang, right? So there is a creator. Whether it's a guy with long brown hair, right? Really cool kind of hippie kid. I don't know, right? I don't know. But there's definitely a creator. We humans are a creation of the universe in some form or fashion. So once again, you don't even have to be religious to acknowledge that we are and our rights are definitely inherent and inalienable by just by sheer fact that we're not born to have owners or masters. We're not subjects, slaves, or serfs, right? We're sure as hell not born that way, anyways. Liberty and the pursuit of happiness were being thwarted by oppressors in London. Yeah, that old tax. What was it? 3% tax on tea. That alone was enough to create the kind of rebellion that happened, that brought about the founding of America, right? Can't we do? Come on. We're economically enslaved today on average to the tune of almost half of our incomes. 3%, half. What's happened? Like I say, how did they understand this? That clarity of the language, the clarity of the mind, the clarity of thought, the clarity of understanding what liberty is, to fast forward and hundreds of years away today, where, like I say, the bulk of the majority of our peers no longer even understand what rights are, which means, of course, they're not going to stand up and fight for them. Although we're definitely seeing there are a lot of people who are political activists on the left who have a complete misconstrue or misunderstanding what a right is, and they're definitely fighting for it. But what they're basically saying, without saying those exact words, is a positive right, which is I want you to provide to me. I have a right to a roof over my head, to a job, to all this, to healthcare, all this shit, and you must provide it, right? That is not a right. You can't universalize that, because if we all use force, theft, or violence towards each other, think about what kind of society or world you would live in under that kind of scenario or situation, right? So obviously, well, anyways, we're going to get to that. So let's just continue on a little bit longer. Our founding documents were put forth specifically for the purposes of securing and protecting rights. Battles, both intellectual and physical, were fought in the ensuing decades to ensure that rights remained a priority of government or were extended to people not originally included. So this business of rights is indistinguishable from the American experience. Indeed, it is at the very core of that experience. Remove rights from the equation, and America is just one of countless countries, past and present, in which individuals possess nothing more than what those in power decide to give them or allow them to have. Yeah, kind of like it is in Canada, with that thing that's not even worth the paper or parchment written on, the Canadian Charter of Rights, where it's like, we're going to recognize and acknowledge it. And it all looked good. It looked like it's almost at the first of it, almost looked like, oh, look, they're duplicating, they're copying in typical Canadian style and fashion. We're going to try to copy our counterparts in the South because look at how amazing they're. But see, that's the thing in Canada. No, not quite. Don't get too excited. Don't get too exuberant about it, because once again, in Canada, I'm going to show that you have basically almost, not quite, right? Especially First Amendment, and definitely not Second Amendment. But we're going to pretend you have these things like freedom of speech and freedom of movement and freedom of association and freedom of religion. But just for the hell of it, right? We're going to put in there, it's a little clause, it's a notwithstanding clause where it's like, but we as government, right, the politicians, the legislatures, the rulers, we can infringe, ignore, and completely overwrite your inherent and inalienable rights, because we wrote it right into the contract. The pretense of the social contract. Just reference Lysen's or Spooner when you're talking about that nonsense, right? But so that's the thing. What kind of language? Once again, how is it that our American, like, you just step across it, that international boundary, that invisible line between Canada and the United States, you'll see, look, all these people look very similar. Matter of fact, you wouldn't know the difference at all if it wasn't for the fact that there's a boundary between our countries, right? Not imaginary, but it is real in the mind and all that. So I get that. But so why is it that if you're American, you understand, well, at least someone that understands the way that the Constitution was drafted and written, how is it that you understand that your Second Amendment is to not be infringed, and your freedom of speech? Yeah, there's no such thing as hate speech. How is it that they understand that intrinsically and as part and parcel? And yet the same kind of people that come along and built Canada, these enlightened figures, right? I got to tell you, folks, the kind of people that founded Canada and the U.S., a lot of old white people, right, that came from Europe. Matter of fact, a lot of them might have had shared common heritage and history, maybe come from the same block. I mean, I don't know, once again, per se, but yes, these are people. So what is it? What is it that distinguishes, once again, the concept of liberty? That is what it is in the philosophical sense. It was not a political document, folks, not at all. It was basically based on metaphysics, epistemology, ethics. It was a true grasp and understanding of what it is to be free. That's what it is. And that's how it was drafted. That's how it explained. And that's how most people understood it at the time. Once again, a couple hundred years later, now you even have a substantial portion of the American population who aren't even willing to engage or entertain with the very notion or the ideas that your rights are inherent and inalienable. And nobody, once again, no enforcer of feel comfortable if they actually understood what inherent and inalienable means. How the fuck could you feel comfortable in your skin saying, well, my boss told me to come do this, but you're infringing on my inherent and inalienable rights? To get to the point where you're willing to reject that and just say, well, I'm just following orders, once again, requires a massive amount of indoctrination. And as much as I'd like to place the burden or I mean, that responsibility or that role of that massive amount of indoctrination into the government and the public school institutions, once again, these are all individuals that comprise these places, right? So there is no magical entity that does this. These are people. These are all individuals, but they're believers in something that's completely different. Or once again, they're taught or we're taught through the education system and horizontally enforced by our peers or by, our parents or grandparents and other generations. So it's a language of conformity, of obedience. And that is the part that is most disturbing because and entertaining other people to have discussions as it pertains to rights and freedoms. But at the very least, we have to be speaking the same language. Right? If we don't at least have a firm grasp or understanding, which is why historically, when I ever have an opponent that's willing to step up and challenge me, which doesn't happen anymore, folks, they've all gone by the wayside. That's why it's like, I don't know. I guess I'm just going to claim victory, do my lap, and can I collect my prize? Because apparently I've won, because nobody seems to be willing to challenge me anymore. But anyways, like I say, to pretend otherwise, other than the fact that these people are willing to completely ignore or just, like I say, forget about even the pretense. But what I don't understand why these people are willing to do it is, don't they care for their own freedoms? I understand where people are very selfish and self-absorbed. That's just a reality. That's the beautiful thing about Austrian economics too. We all understand that Austrian economics, it's just a mathematical equation. You have to take psychology, human nature, all that stuff into account, which is why I'm definitely a fan of the Austrian school and not of the Keynesian kind of stuff. Or even some of the classical liberalism. Classical liberalism was great, but I'll tell you, classical liberal economics, without a little help from the Austrian school, is still going to leave you, circling, right? Buffering, right? And still not being able to figure this stuff out properly. But anyway, so I kind of did go off on a little bit tangent there. But anyways, I want to just point out that it's alluded to in this article. Now, I won't read the entire article because it could be quite time consuming to do so. It is a pretty long article. But basically, a negative right, a proper inherent and inalienable right, is that you don't have any authority to use force, violence, theft, or coercion to other people. A positive right is to suggest that you've flipped the scenario upside down and now you have some fundamental right to socially or economically enslave other people, to bow to your whims or your edicts. And that is obviously completely the antithetical premise of what liberty truly is. Anyways, let me just check real quick who's got in the chat. Evil is running our world. Is it ever? Is to find God, is to find family. I got to tell you, folks, and most of you people that have been watching me for a long time, I've even admitted, and I've been made fun of. I've had people insult me, right? By my sheer fact that I'm still a believer, right? And I know it's hard for people to understand, well, wait a minute, you claim to be so objective and it's all about proper knowledge and weeding out mysticism. And 100%, once again, when you get to this point, you have to understand that there has to be rules of engagement for societies, unless we're going to go back to the state of nature, which I don't think anyone really wants to do. So there has to be an authority. And what I got to tell you is the kind of authority has to be universal, not just in the language, but in the premise, in the principles, and the positions, right? And the only place that I've ever seen that, not saying that it can exist in the real world, like I say, UPB, Objectivism has done a fairly decent job, and I think UPP is pretty much there in terms of bringing to the second round. But the place I have seen where it does dominate, and you can see it today, even like say some of the pastors out west or in other places in Canada, when you recognize that your ultimate authority is not God or not government, but God, like I say, these are people who I'm more than even though they might not identify as a libertarian per se, but they at least are anarchistic in the sense that they do not, right, subject themselves to any earth-based, man-made authority, right? They're at least wise enough to realize that we humans were fallible, and you don't want to put these fallible people in charge of millions or ultimately billions of people's lives. And to say government is supposed to serve, not rule. Supposed to, but this is the problem there thing. But thank you for joining the stream. And actually, I want to reference that. Sounds good in theory, right? They're supposed to serve and rule. But what, right? Even the American Constitution and the way everything's set up is that you're giving all these authorities and all this power to these people and hoping, I guess, and just, man, they got to stick to it, right? But no, actually, it wasn't even that. It wasn't even the pretense. This is the thing. The founding fathers understood this, which is why they said that even though we're trying to write up these documents, and even though we're hoping everyone will follow them, the main reason why they left the First Amendment and Second Amendment and made sure that that's very important is because they recognize inherently and instinctively that nope, your rights and your freedoms, they actually only exist in here if you don't have the physical capacity and the willingness to stand in defiance against authoritarianism and defend them outright. And once again, you could say that to a Canadian today. If you said that to a Canadian, they'd be like, they'd mouth wide open. What are you saying? You want to use violence or you want to use force to go against, like, I don't know, pick a politician, right? Because they would look at the politicians. Oh, but look, they stand up there in a pulpit. All they do is speak. They say, I want to do this. Look, I've never seen like Andrew Scheer or Justin Trudeau or Aaron O'Toole or Jagmeet. I've never seen any of these guys do any violence, but actually, no, that's what they do every day. You don't see it because they're not the ones that actually have to do the violence, right? It's the enforcers of the state who are ultimately the ones that are going to do the violence if it needs be. They'll just use bullying tactics and intimidation if that works, right? But they will resort to violence the minute you don't or you defy their mandates and edicts. So actually, politicians, all politicians who are advocating for anything that has to do with a positive right or anything that infringes on negative rights are advocating for violence and force and theft. Yes, once again, hashtag taxation is theft. So these people are violent. So matter of fact, under any proper scenario or situation, right? But that's the thing. You got to be careful when you're talking about this stuff. But under any situation where someone's actively using force, violence, theft, or coercion toward you, it is completely and wholly legitimate to defend yourself against such actors, right? In the private realm, that's all easily understood. You could talk to anybody, right? Out there, talk to your or starts, sorry, I seen that skipped in on me a little bit, or starts, trying to beat you up or do whatever. It's like you have 100% right and authority to defend against that kind of like theft or violence. And there would be nobody that would say, no, you're not allowed to do that, right? It's weird. Like I say, totally different language. Somehow now people have been taught to think that the language, even though they're speaking the same language because they're using the same words, but for some reason they're like, but when it's this person and they put on a particular suit or they give themselves a particular label, no, even if they're doing the exact same thing, somehow you must subject yourself to that. And benevolently, you should actually praise them for enslaving you socially or economically, or even abusing you, right? While the baton is coming down upon you, right, for defying, whatever mandate or edict, right, authoritarian mandate or edict that does officially infringe on your rights. If you defy that, it's like, well, no, not only should you not defy it, you should be very thankful and praise these people for beating you into oblivion for daring to defy them. Anyways, I see I got a chat, so let me click down here real quick. Hey, what's going on, Rainy Stems? Hey, I'm trying to click on here. Let me go down a little bit. Haven't seen Rainy in a while. Where did it go? Oh, there we go. I got it. Thank you very kindly there, Rainy Steps. I don't even know how you did a super chat. Because to tell you the truth, I didn't even monetize this video. Because as you folks know, I mean, come on, I'm already down to what they won't even let my video get out to any more than 100 or 200 people these days. So, and because I want to keep my channel in at least good standing for the next little while. I'm trying my best, trying my best. But so I didn't monetize this video because I'm probably going to cover some things that, I don't want to give them any fodder. I don't want to give them an excuse to take my channel down. Oh, by the way, they've been taking channels down like crazy. What is it? Ellie's Place, I think. I heard, yeah, she was saying, not sure if you're familiar with Ellie's Place, but I haven't watched her, him, whatever. She goes by her anyways. But someone that was caring about freedom and liberty, and I'm not sure what the hell was said because but yeah, apparently her entire channel has been taken down for violations of community standards, and these community standards are just like the way that the social media giants they function almost exactly. They're very authoritarian, obviously, these days. They function just exactly as the enforcers of the state, right? Where they just basically arbitrarily interpret. And I'm back. I'm fucking back. What's going on here, folks? Man, I tell you, right? What the? Holy sheep shit, folks. Holy sheep shit. Have you ever seen such a thing? Wow, that's like I'm one big fucking experiment. Let's see how many times we can fuck this guy over. Yeah. Well, like I've said a million times, you fuckers don't realize just how fucking persistent I am. Socialism and loot. Anyways, so once again, I've completely lost my train of thought. But anyways, there was something that I did want to discuss, but I'm going to hold that off because it's dealing with some people that I know personally. And I was hoping to have a conversation with one of them before I went live because, like I say, there's some stuff happening online on social media that's really, really causing me of great concern. And it's not just my internet connection and outages, right? I mean, I'm still trying to scramble to figure that stuff out. I mean, I don't know, right? 2 + 2 is 4. I'm an evidence kind of guy. I don't have all the evidence though, so I gotta hold off. But once again, there's some crazy stuff that's been taking place. But I did want to get to this before I lose out my internet connection again. Are you folks still there? Are you still there? Hello. Hey, creepy little girl. What's up with that? That deserves a larger audience. I do, but to be honest with you, I'm willing to say the stuff that most people don't want to hear. So they don't want to give me an audience. No, hell no. But now let me get back up to I'm the kind of guy that you just can't fuck with. Like I say, I've dotted all my I's, crossed the T's, made sure I've put all the work and effort. It's like, I'm ready. So let's go. Let's go. And then everyone that's like wanting to challenge me, like, oh, I don't want to, I'm scared. I don't want to with them. I don't want to converse with them. I don't want to argue with them. I don't. So what's left? What do we got to do? Oh, let's just ignore or avoid or silence them, right? That's all they got. That's all they got to throw, which is like I say, there's a reason why I'm as confident as I am. Because if my opponents were genuinely as superior to me as they really believe they are, right? Then there'd be no need to try to silence, suppress, or hide my videos, or make sure my content gets seen by any, or even the people that used to watch my stuff. No one wants that big mirror held up to their fucking face. That's what it is at the end of the day, which is why I know. That's how I know. That's my guide. Yeah, you're on the right path, Benny. You're doing the right thing. And I know I am. So like I said, don't care if there's one person watching. One's kind of it's not great. But hey, that one person, once again, could be a very, very influential or person with a lot of sway, and they might be able to get some shit done. Because that's one thing I think the kind of people like libertarians, right? Very competent, very observant, very articulate, and have a lot to bring to the table. So once again, reaching out and getting one person that is a libertarian thinking type of mind or is a critical thinker is better than a million. I'll take one libertarian watching one intellectual, really smart people like yourself. I'll take one of you folks. Every one of you folks, I wouldn't trade you for a million. Like if I was getting a million views, but when I was reading through all the comments here, it was just oops, I almost lost her again, folks. I'd say, man, I've done fucked up. How am I getting all these idiots? Like, why have I got all these sheeple? I would feel like CBC, because when you go to CBC and you read, some of their stupid fucking raggedy fucking articles, the propaganda, and then you read the comments underneath, it's like, oh my God, look, what are you guys scouring the fucking bottom of the knuckle draggers? Is that all you got for the people that you entertain on a regular basis or are willing to follow or fall for your shit? Yes. So you have all of them. Matter of fact, CBC, you have all of them. I don't want none of them unless they're willing to actually start thinking critically. If they are, come on over to the Canadian Libertarian. I'm right here waiting, and I'll help you as best I can, right? But yeah, I'll take one of you folks, right? For every rainy step out there, I'll forego a million views of a bunch of dumbed down status, right? So I'm good. I'm good, folks. I'm good there. Although the one thing I do say, the reason why and it's not about me, it's not about, I just want to feel popular. I'm good in my own personal life. I don't need to fulfill. I know how some people need it, the online thing, but I'm good enough in my own life. I don't need that to fill that void online. But I am one of those people who's like, damn, I want freedom. I want liberty. I want to exist. I want us to get back to something even remotely resembling normal human society where we respect each other. The things that really matters most. And it's not going to happen based on the other people. So I'm out here I'm just trying to say what I got to say. Oh, by the way, did you folks get a chance to talk about that kind of stuff? And especially for the young people out there, really proud to see that young man, the red pill rapper, Mitch Murphy. I did see he did reach out to Tim Moen, and it was great to see he had a conversation with Tim. And I got to tell you, folks, it was a great conversation. Definitely checked out Tim Moen, and then Dash, the Liberty Experts. Check out his YouTube video, and definitely thumbs up, subscribe, share his stuff. But yeah, he had a chat there with the young Mitch Murphy, the red pill rapper. That guy, I got to tell you, I like that guy. And he seems like really popular. He's charismatic, and this is what we need. Some fine folks from the younger generations that are out there stepping up, kind of find some commonality and some relationship between us generations. Like, so we got a Gen Xers, we got millennials. All we need now is get some Gen Zers down there, and like I say, we've got a full force of triple threat in terms of generations to push back against the old establishment. And I got to tell you, we can be a massively powerful force. Problem is, right now, a lot of the young people are still falling hook, line, and sinker for the old collectivist narrative, right? Well, when you're younger, it sounds good. Oh, free stuff? You mean somebody else going to take care? It sounds good in theory, but not really, folks, not really. And the red pill rapper definitely seems to understand it. Has a firm grasp on that. Oh, J for Freedom. Okay, where we got here? Haha, it's okay. I know the language. I write it all the time. Right on. Anyways, thanks for joining the chat, J for Freedom. And once again, reach out to me anytime if you want to come on and have another chat. It was an entertaining and a great conversation we had. But thank you once again. That's pretty awesome. Well, that's that. Which one is that little girl there? Is that Monster, wasn't it? Was that the Monster girl? I don't know. It's here but no see. Socialism is the new lieu of communism. Yeah. Tame thing. What was this again? Hear my words that I might reach you. But my words like silent raindrops fell and echoed in the wells of silence. Simon and Garfunkel, Sound in Silence. Very nice. Thank you for contributing to that there, Tame Thing. Yeah, I know. Sorry about that, David, man. I'm trying to get my setup here. And like I say, the minute I do, I'll be so happy and thankful for that. Hey, what's going on? Patrick LaBelle, thank you for your work. Well, thank you for joining the stream. And if you wouldn't mind, hit that old thumbs up and maybe even throw a share out there. Because, like I say, it would be nice if we could reach out to a few other people, or even if not, like I say, get those people to engage with me, even if it's online. Like you say, I just in a private chat. If you know someone, even if it's publicly, if you know someone, always willing to entertain and engage with other people and giving them a little piece of my mind. GTO Mama. Nice to see GTO Mama in the chat. Psychopaths be lie. Oh, believe their own life. I got you. Yeah, be lie. Good one, GTO Mama. Okay, let's get back up to I was just going through the chats there, folks. Oh, shoot. Someone else did I'm not sure how the super chats, like I say, is working, because I guess you still get super chats even if you don't turn on monetization, apparently. Must be anyways. But thank you once again. Really appreciate that. Chris Chitura's Fight the Good Fight. Nice. Thank you. $5. Have a frosty one on me. Much respect, Bennett. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much, Chris, and I will for sure. And even if it's not a frosty one, I'm still going to enjoy a little something on your behalf. And once again, I really appreciate it. Yep. Sup God 123. Sub God. Nice. Sub God. Okay. Back. I'm enjoying this. Oh, thank you. I'll check this one. Smash that like button below. And thanks for your support. Thank you once again, Chris. And Mr. G Rich, I hope you're having a nice day. I am G Rich, and with you joining the chat, it's even better. So thank you once again, my friend. Okay, back to the should we deal with this one now? I mean, the silence and the stifling of speech has just been ripped. Oh, let me deal with this one real quick. Oh, yeah, that's right, too. I can't bring it up because I don't have I've used up all my articles for the month. Perhaps I can print screen it, though. Where's it? Or will it stay that way? No, it's going to. Okay. Oh, it's staying there for a bit. Let me see. Let's see if I can't do this here real quick so that you folks can see it. And then if I have to, okay, there we go. Share. Ah, crap. Okay, wait a sec. Try it again here. Let me try that again. Work. There we go. So as you can see, the CRA is watching you. Auditors scouring social media for unreported income from influencers. So, social media influencers. If Canadians could figure out how to get paid to play Call of Duty, the CRA needs to figure out how to tax that, right? Once again, are we even speaking the same language anymore? Taxation was meant, right, for a small amount to pay for my roads, right? My roads, right? Some of that infrastructure like power, and of course we would all, I mean, who among us wouldn't be willing to contribute a small portion, do anything, but it'd have to be private, it'd have to be accountable, and it'd have to be a way to make sure that the contract, I can enter in it freely, clearly, and voluntarily, right? But who among us wouldn't pay to have roads or, other infrastructure like electricity? Of course we all would have that. Does government need to be the one, the monopoly of force of violence, be the one to deliver that? No. As we see today, private sector can take care of all that. Always has been that way. It's just that people have their belief in giving certain people authority over others, and this is what works. But look at it. Here in Canada, the CRA, if you're making any money from social media, and I guess that'd be me, right? If you're making, fortunately, I gotta laugh. You know why I'm doing this. Is like normally someone like this. Normally, if you're a big influential social media person, you're making some serious coin. You wouldn't even touch this article with a fucking 10-foot pole because you're like, I don't want to put the spotlight. I don't put no attention on me. But once again, I'm not too worried about that. If you knew how much I bring from YouTube, right? And you go ahead and tax me on that $100, right? A month. Actually, I think you're allowed to make up to a certain point a year before you are actually taxed. And based on my revenue from YouTube, it probably wouldn't even be. So I don't know, let's say average 100 a month. And it does, because some months I don't even get enough to get the 100. So you got to wait till the next month. So $1,200, pretty sure you're allowed to make $1,200 before they start ripping in your tax bracket. So I'm willing to cover this stuff. Like I say, the reason why I'm willing to touch all these third rails that most people would never go near is because I placed myself in a position, a good position. Very few people in this fucking country have placed themselves in a position that I have where they can do such a thing, and with such bravery and confidence. Right? But here I am, and here you are, and I'm thankful, like I say, for dream. But it'd be kind of nice if I could inspire and embolden a few more than just a few you folks to do the same. To do the same. Like I say, I've always been one. I want to lead by example, and I want to make sure I'm put myself in a position where, like, nobody, you can spew rhetoric, but once again, the proof is in the pudding. The reality is there. You can't never deny that. That's what I like to do. Now, should we get to the big stuff here? Should we get to the big stuff? Oh, let's get to this one first. For all those Canadians who have so much trust and faith in our socialist healthcare system. I don't. Never have. Why people do? Once again, it's just a belief. It's not based in or grounded on reality. It's just a belief, right? It's a warm, fuzzy feeling that people get. But once again, not grounded in reality. So here, right straight from the horse's mouth itself. Well, basically. So Ottawa, CBC. Canada's nursing homes have worst record for COVID-19 deaths among wealthy nations, report. Deaths represent 69% of overall fatalities, well above international average. This was reported by Julie Ayrton, March 30th, 2021. Now, the 69%, boy, oh boy, I'm suggesting that it could skew much higher, and the way they're representing or reporting these numbers could be not exactly accurate, but either way, let's just go with the numbers that they're presenting, because 70%, 69, 70%, that's well in excess, in excess of 2/3, right? So it's not just a majority, but a big old majority, right? And as the headline even suggests, the worst in all of developed nations. In all of the developed nations in the world, Canada did the worst in terms of protecting the weak, the elderly, and the vulnerable. And like I said, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an epidemiologist. I'm not a scientist. I'm not a politician. I'm not a legislator. I'm not a judge. I don't have any of these high positions of status or so-called authority, but I knew at the very beginning, and once again, the proof's in the pudding by the sheer fact that I uploaded multiple streams saying as such that, yeah, no, if you're going to have some kind of virus that outbreak, right, that's going to have a detrimental effect on people, well, you want to protect the vulnerable and the elderly in particular. And why? Because it's the vulnerable and the elderly who are going to be susceptible to suffering grave harm or injury or ultimately death as a consequence of these things. And I was proven to be absolutely correct, I'll add, right? But yet, the people, all these geniuses that are part of the central planners, right, that understand all these things should be much, much wiser than I am. Well, they failed miserably. And not just a little bit, not just middle grade miserable, but I mean so miserable that they're Canada's number one in terms of, allowing rampant deaths to the most vulnerable and elderly people in society, those who may have been some of the greatest contributors to society in their past, right? That's what you get, right? That's what you got for all that you provided or done in society, is to be left in these institutions, isolated, alone, muzzled, being treated like second or third class citizens. Oh, terrible. When I was listening to that lady the other day who was saying, it's like this older lady that was mentioned, I just want to see my family. Can I just please see my family? Sure, you might be able to keep me alive a little bit longer, but this is not the life I want to fucking live. This is the problem. Why do people feel that you have the authority to impose how you deem other people should live? Let these people live and let live, you motherfuckers, right? There might be a day, like I say, these people that are doing this shit now, there's going to come a day they're going to be placed in these same fucking situations or scenarios. And I hope that shoe fits really, really hard, really fucking hurts your feet when it's on the other foot that time, right? And you start to find, oh, so this is what it's like to be placed in these positions. Oh, now I understand. But you know what? Once again, it'll be a little too late, or it'll be a lot too late. And a whole lot of death and suffering and injury would have taken place as a consequence of you not being proactive and paying attention to stuff. This is devastating stuff, folks, because what these elderly people, these people in these long-term care homes, represent are close members of our families, people in their final years and on the precipice of no longer being with us. And to me, I know if I was in that position, fuck a virus, right? I'll take my risk. And let me determine what kind of risk I want to take. I might even listen, not me, but let's say other people, like, they want to wear. Let people choose the risk. If their life is what's on the fucking line, allow them to make that determination. No human being should ever have any pretense or authority to override other people's willingness to be engaged in dangerous acts, right? As long as they're not causing harm to fucking anyone else. But see, that's the thing when they use virus, right? Oh, well, you might harm someone else. Well, if you can prove that, then make your fucking case and go to court and prove it. But don't pretend that what if. Stop using the what if until you can actually prove that. Leave people alone. Allow them to figure this shit out on their own. Stop treating full-grown adults, and especially the elderly, as if they have no cognitive abilities at all. Now, there are some people that might be in these facilities who do lack that cognitive ability, and those people are exceptional in certain circumstances where there does require more nuance. But like the people like the lady I was listening to, or other people that are in these facilities who are desperately missing their family members and maybe not getting to see their grandkids that maybe was just born. Maybe they might never get to see their first great grandchild, right? Think about what kind of effect that has on them. Or maybe a fellow loved one that's maybe they're isolated from their own fellow loved ones, right? Like, how devastating that's going to be to a lot of people. And we're recognizing that it's causing way more harm than good these days. Canada has the worst record for COVID-19 deaths in long-term care homes compared with other wealthy countries, according to a new report released on Tuesday by the Canadian Institute for Health Information. The study found that the proportion of deaths in nursing homes represented 69% of Canada's overall COVID-19 deaths, which is significantly higher than the international average of 41%. Yeah, I'd say, right? That's the average over the rest of all these other countries. And Canada is not just on par, but way more, right? In Canada, between March 20 and February 21st, 2021, more than 80,000 residents and staff members of long-term care homes were infected with the coronavirus. Outbreaks occurred in 2,500 care homes, resulting in the death of 14,000 residents, according to the report. COVID-19 has exacted a heavy price on Canada's long-term care and retirement homes, resulting in a disproportionate number of outbreaks and deaths, the report's introduction says. The study, which primarily focuses on the first 6 months of the pandemic, found that across the country, nursing home residents received less medical care. They had fewer visits from doctors, and there was also fewer hospital transfers when compared with other years. Researchers also looked beyond the coronavirus to all deaths in care homes. So once again, all you people, or any the people who would typically place their faith in big government and these facilities or these institutions, well, there's a failure of leadership, and there's obviously a failure in the entire chain. But government, and I gotta say this, and I know this makes some people uncomfortable, but if you have the potential, if it's even possible, maybe take care of your own aging and elderly parents. I get some you can't, but there's a lot of Canadians out there who've been more than willing to offload, that responsibility to complete fucking strangers. And I got to tell you, it's a large percentage of the boomer cohort, because if you think about it, if the people that are in their 80s and 90s, the overwhelming bunch of these people are in their late 70s or so that are dying from coronavirus. These are all typically people from the silent or the greatest generation, the baby boomers' parents. Now, once again, if you're a baby boomer and you were personally responsible and you took care of things and you're not one of these people, don't take this to heart, because I don't ever try to collectivize guilt in that manner. But I will point out very real fucking facts that the boomer cohort, a substantial portion of them, not only seem to completely fail their children, but they failed their parents as well on multiple levels. So at some point in time, these people need to do some personal reflection. Maybe these people in these institutions of media, in big government, maybe that's why they're on this massive virtue signaling round these days, where they're finger wagging and trying to place the guilt at the feet of everyone else's society. It might very well be that these are the people who did fail their parents and their children, and they're allowing their internal guilt to manifest to the point where they're trying to project that on others, because they're feeling it, right? They're feeling it because, all human beings, we have feelings. We understand, what it is to be caring and compassionate. Even some people who don't seem more rigid, they're thinking internally, unless they're a sociopath, right? Anyways, don't want to get too much into the demographic things, because I typically realize that just gets people like, oh, I'm not listening to this guy no more. He said something bad, and it sounded like it might have been directed at me. It's like, well, I don't know. Is it at you? You feel guilty? And if you do, don't blame me. I didn't do anything to make you feel guilty. There must be something going on in your head or in your background that's making you feel guilty. I felt guilty in my life, and I got to tell you, I'm not going to blame anyone else for it. If I fucked up my life, I'm going to have to figure out, do some soul searching, and try to correct things. Might not be able to go back and unwind it, but I can definitely try to improve myself or do something better going forward, and so can everyone else. So, yeah, let's just stop with the trying to kneecap anyone that's trying to hold up the proverbial mirror. I wouldn't be in the position or the state of mind that I am today. And I'm very thankful that some people are willing to say, you know what, Bennett, I'm going to bust your delusions wide open, man. I'm going to bust them open. To this day, I got to tell you, thank you very much for doing so. Ron Paul, you're one of them, my friend. Okay. So, anyways, yeah, that's good enough for this one, right? I'll make sure to place this in the link in the description to the old stream below. But yeah, gotta make sure that if you got someone out there that you care about tremendously and they're aged, elderly, or have a lot of comorbidities, do your best to be proactive, because you don't know. Don't rely on, and I'm not even saying that it's evil for some of these people, like in these long-term care homes. I'm not trying to attribute blame or guilt in terms of evilness, but like, once again, it comes down to incentive. Who has any more incentive than to take care of your aging or elderly loved ones than you, right? No one else on this earth, on this planet. I'm not saying that people can't fill that void or that gap. Some can. But you are kind of playing a risky game, a little bit of a Russian roulette, when you're just putting, that kind of care in the hands of complete strangers. Just like with your kids, send them off to school. Think about sending your kids off to school today. Even if you don't believe me when I talk about historical precedent in terms of indoctrination throughout the education system, think about today in the kind of SJW, identity politics, postmodernist, cultural Marxist bullshit that's being jammed down their throat. Or that if you're white, if you have white skin, you're a terrible person, right? Think about the kind of shit that's being educated and taught to your kids today. You know, once again, you got to be proactive and making sure that you're out there at least, arming yourself with the knowledge to counter that stuff. And if you're not, well, you're failing your children. If you can't do it, maybe you lack the competence. I'm not saying you folks, obviously, right? But someone else, if you lack, then find someone else. You can't find anyone in your life. And if you can't, we live in the age of information. Even if you have to use some external source, maybe someone like myself. That's what I'm here for, folks. I'm trying my best. If you don't want to step up and do that, in your own life for your own children or for your own parents, allow other people to help educate and inform you, to help you in that pursuit, in that endeavor. Don't feel isolated alone. Try your best. And that's really all we have to offer each other in the day. We're going to but at least you're going to have the best chance in life. Mr. Know-It-All. Hey, what's going on, Mr. Know-It-All? Do not want to live that long. Yeah, for me, it's like, I don't know. It depends. It depends. With the gray beard down and step around. What's this? And step lightly around the tattooed gorilla with the gray beard down here. Tattooed gorilla with the gray beard. Gray beard, tattooed gorilla. You're not talking about. No, Alex hasn't got no tattoos, does he? Who's the? Not sure who you guys are talking about. Anyways, let me. Where were we at here? Oh, yeah, here we go. So this, I was saving this for the last, but so for those you are paying attention, I did save this for the last, and I'm probably going to have to cover it again because I'm going to have to do a whole putting of the whole pieces together, the puzzle once again. But let's do this. Let's do this. Should we? Yeah, it's not monetized. So let's do this. I'm going to do this, folks. Ready? Yeah, ready? Oh yeah. I got just trying to remember where I had this. Little refresher. Little refresher, folks. Here we go. Should I share? I'm going to share it right on the. No, I can't share it on the screen because there's stuff in there I haven't redacted. So I can't share this on the screen. Once again, I've said I'm going to protect the names because I don't know. Once again, I don't know if any of this stuff is true, but I'm willing to protect the names and the sources for this because just in case, right? Just in case. But well, let me give you a quick sneak peek here. Share screen. So this came out. This is first. I'll just give you the old headline first. Make sure you folks can see it there. Yep. So as you can see, headline, and this was just reported yesterday, which is actually one of the main reasons why I wanted to stream yesterday. Under the politics section, Trudeau calls for global response as UN warns of looming debt crisis. United Nations urging action to ease debt burdens in lower and middle income countries. Okay, before I actually get to reading the rest of it, I'm going to leave it up there. Actually, I'm going to leave it up there. And then I'll just read from this letter. Right? I don't know if you folks are familiar. I have some of you are definitely familiar with this. But how about a little refresher course? So let's keep in mind the date of this stream because we're definitely going to want to maybe use this for future reference. I do have one other stream where I covered this, but we need a little redundancy here. So here we go, folks. Actually, I'm going to have to put on the glasses because, damn, that writing is small. Well, we're back. You guys still there? I do. I do. It took me a minute to catch on, but like, geez, man. Well, how far? Just let me know. Did you guys get to hear anything? I don't know exactly when I lost it. Like, this is just terrible. This is so. Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Oh boy! Anyways, I'm back. Talk to you. I hear you. My mom is out there. Oh, cool. Or no. Yes, still here. Thank you. So, anyways, what did you see anything? Did I get the was there anything? So, anyways, let me just summarize real quick because I'm gonna try to get through this before get lose connection once again, right? Cheapers, man. Cheapers. Anyway, so what's going on, Anarcha Rica? What's going on? I just got here. No worries. Hey, Ben, Anarcha Rica's here. We're good to go now. We're safe. All right. We're not going to have any more issues now. Just kidding. Well, hopefully not. Anyways, about 3 minutes. Okay. Thanks, Ben White. Thanks, Ben. Ben White. Ben White. Jeez, was that the guy's name that I met that I worked with up in Toronto? I'm pretty sure that was the guy's name that I worked with up in Ajax there. I don't even know. I don't know if you're that guy, but thanks for the introduction if you were to my source there. But anyways, thanks for joining the stream. So I went to vomit when you sorry about that, Jay. I really do apologize. I know that's a terrible, terrible thing to do. Nobody should be subjected to fucking Trudeau's face. What a terrible thing. Wham, right? Anyway, so let's get back to it. But did you at least see the article? Right? You saw the article, right? Oh, okay. Thanks, Ben. Okay. Different Ben White. Okay. Let me do this again. Real quick here, folks. Quickly. All right. Here we go. So Trudeau calls for global response as UN warns of looming debt crisis. United Nations urgent action to ease debt burden and lower the middle income countries. CBC News, March 29, 2021. So it was last updated 6 hours ago. Anyway, I'm going to read a little bit from here and then I'm going to go to the other one because at least get this part done, right? Yeah, I don't want to show Trudeau. Okay, move past. Sorry, Jay, man. I really didn't mean to trigger you. I know, right? Just gives you have this natural tendency, right? Anyway, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau and other world leaders today called for a coordinated global response to what the United Nations says is a looming international debt crisis caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. Speaking at a virtual meeting organized by the UN, Trudeau said the pandemic has laid bare economic inequalities within and between countries that can be addressed only through international cooperation, folks. That's the only way it can happen. The world must come together, protect people, save lives, and defeat COVID-19, said Trudeau. Oh, it just sounds so good. We're just going to come together. That's all. Folks. We're just all going to come together. It's all nice. It's all benevolent. Nothing to see here. We know we can't defeat this virus and build back better. Yeah, you heard that, folks. Yeah. Yep. Not just one time that he said it. No. Hey, just to throw in the olds for the conspiracy theorists, right? It's like, oh, if they ever use the term build back better, just call them conspiracy theorists. But meanwhile, here it is again. Again. All right, Trudeau. Well, we just got to say then stop calling people. Literally got it right here in CBC's even willing to put it in print, right? Come on. Even your own fellow peeps are selling you up the river there, Trudeau. Trudum. We know we can't defeat this virus and build back better at home unless all countries have the resources to respond to and recover from this global challenge. Only through a coordinated global response can we address the impacts of the pandemic and create jobs, economic growth, and new opportunity for our people in business. You must subject yourself to not just the greater good of Canada, but the greater good of the world. Right? Collectivism has gone and stepped up a whole new level, boys and girls. Right? The UN says the world needs to take urgent action to help governments in lower income and middle income countries gain access to cash and ease their debt burdens. Well, how about you just stop? Hey, you know what? No one has to take any fucking actions at all to ease my debt burdens. Why? Because I live within my means, motherfuckers. What the hell? Has nobody ever? Hey, you don't have to build back better. Just live within your means, motherfuckers. Hey, I know that's, whoa, Bennett. You're so extreme, man. Why are you so extreme, Bennett? You damn libertarians and your extremism. I know. Personal responsibility, accountability, and taking care of business without having to steal from other people. So extreme, man. I'm a fucking extreme that way. I'm so extreme. 6 developing countries have defaulted on their debts already. Oh, really? Since the pandemic began, the whole country. While 42 others have seen their credit ratings downgrade during that time, according to the UN. At least 120 million people have fallen into extreme poverty during the anyway. So you get it. Build back better, right? A global debt reset kind of a program, debt forgiveness, debt crisis. That's what they're looting for here, right? We're warning of a loss down here. You and Chief warns of a lost decade. So you just got it, like a global debt forgiveness thing, right? Anyways, so you've heard it. It's right here. And you know I'll be placing a link to this article in the description of the video. Oh, am I still live? Am I still here? Am I still here? Hey, what's going on, Patrick LaBelle? Hey, thank you very kindly, Patrick. If Trudeau is seriously concerned about CO2 production, he would not push to bring in 400,000 exactly a year from much warmer and less industrialized country. That is such a beautiful. Thank you, Patrick LaBelle. And you know what? You wouldn't have even had to spend that $10 to get that, because I would have brought that up anyways. And I know I'm kind of shooting myself foot here, but you're 100% right, right? And you know what? Even for the conservatives, like, oh, we need to get back Stephen Harper. And now, like, oh, was great, bringing 250,000 people that aren't putting much of a carbon footprint in the world, right? Like you're saying, like Patrick LaBelle is alluding to, is yes, these are people in developing nations that aren't actually or aren't having quite as big of a carbon footprint as they would have if you come to Canada and you have access to all the entitlements and all the modern amenities that comes with living in a modern developed world, right? Or society or a country. But yeah, bring in, whether it's under Harper regime, 250,000 a year, which is $1 million every 4 years, or 350, 400,000, which definitely ramps that up and, you know, shortens it down to like just under 3 years or so. But yeah, you're worried about climate change. I mean, just the airfare or just the air travel alone to get 400,000 people, right? That's a big old carbon footprint, right? Thank you for bringing that up, Patrick. I fucking love the fact that this is why I love the people that watch my stuff. You people are smart as fuck and understand all this stuff, which is why I get frustrated times, like, because I'm talking to people that already understand this stuff. It's like, oh damn, but I love it. I really do love you folks. Like I say, but that is so well articulated. And exactly, it's never been about climate change or about economic intervention. It's just like, hey, that Alexandria or Cortez or whatever, at least she's a little bit honest about it. It is literally about the Green New Deal. It's just like the New Deal back in the day, but it's just now, right? Because they fucked up the entire economic system, and now they've got to figure it away. Hey, you'll just accept that we screwed you over and stole from you and plundered your economic prosperity. But hey, you know what? Can we just do a reset? Forget about all the malfeasance in the past and how much we screwed you over and plundered your wealth or destroyed it in the past. We'll just do a whole new deal and figure out another way where you can grow yourself out of your misery. It's like, really? Now I'm not forgetting, and hopefully the rest of you fucks or folks aren't either, right? Because this constant bullshit that's what they're hoping, right? That you'll just, hey, once the growth trajectory comes back into fruition, once there's some inflation, once people are getting back into jobs, they're like, and most people will, they're like, okay, I forgot what happened, right? And you're like, you know what? I got a memory of an elephant. I'm not going to forget this stuff. I'm not going to forget it. I may forgive someday. That's always a possibility, but I'm definitely not going to forget. And neither should you. Anyways, back to, like I say, so we're talking about the simple fact, or we're talking about, so now they're bringing out the debt crisis. So back to, I guess I probably got to start right back at the beginning again. Got to throw the glasses on. One more time, folks. As long as we have internet connection, we might be okay. Yeah, AOC is definitely a moron puppet for sure, Anarcha Rika. But she was correct, at least she, no, you know what I'm saying. Like, she's at least willing to say that, yeah, they're willing to go socialism. At least the socialist types are willing to admit they're socialists. It's the ones that are trying to play that middle ground or pretend that they're not doing what they're doing. Yeah, those are the people that I have the least respect for. But I'm totally with you there, 100%. Anyways, so here was the plan. The letter from the Liberal Insider, if you folks remember, that came out, once again, disclaimer, I have no idea if all this information is truthful or not. I'm just going to give this, whether you use it for entertainment purposes. I'm just going to list down what was contained within this, and you just take this information and do with it whatever you want, right? You're all adults here. We're all adults here. So phase one, the roadmap and aim was set out by the PM and is as follows. Phase in secondary lockdown restrictions on a rolling basis, starting with major metropolitan areas first and expand outward, expected by November 2020. Check. Done. Rush the acquisition of or construction of isolation facilities across every province and territory, expected by December 2020. Now, like I was saying, rush the acquisition of or construction of. So no, when they come out, fact checkers like, no, they're not constructing quarantine facilities. You bunch of fucking far right libertarian conspiracy theorists, right? Well, it's right here. They didn't necessarily mean that it had to be constructed. It could have been an acquisition. And you know what? I do sense, and I've seen even the established media report on, and we all know this is a reality, that those hotel quarantine facilities and sites are definitely a reality. And we've seen actual people contained within them. And Chris Sky has covered this multiple times, and so has Rebel Media. So we know they exist, and even the established media has had to kind of do an about face and admit, yeah, there's such thing as federal quarantine facilities. So, right, and expected by December 2020. Check. Daily new cases of COVID-19 will surge beyond capacity of testing, including increases in COVID-related deaths following the same growth curve, expected by end of November 2020. Check. Once again. Complete and total secondary lockdown, much stricter than the first and second rolling phase restrictions, expected by end of December 2020, early January 2021. Check. Reforms and expansion of the unemployment program to be transitioned into the universal basic income program. That's what it was. There's where I was at. That's where I was at. And that's how far I made it before the old computer did a glitch or whatever the hell happened, right? So the basic income program is like expected by Q1 2021. Reform and expansion of the unemployment. So what happened in, let me reload this here. Where is it? Okay. Here we go. Bill, there we go. So, and when was the, hold on, let me get back to the time here. What was the time frame for that again? So, transitioning of individuals into the universal basic income program. Oh, wait, no, that's a little further down. Right. Reform and expansion of the employment program to be transitioned to the universal basic income program, expected by Q1 2021. So the Q1 is January to March. So, right now, let me show you this, folks. Let's get all this stuff on here so you folks can see it. Quickly. Hey, here we go. So you folks can see this, right? Yep, you sure can. So let's just read a little bit from this. Because, yeah, in case you weren't watching my videos or my stream, this did happen. Liberal MPs, grassroots to push for universal basic income at party convention. The idea of creating a universal basic income is being pushed by Liberal MPs and grassroots party members, young and old, from east to west, despite Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's apparent lack of enthusiasm. It is among the top priority issues chosen for debate at the governing party April 9th to 10th convention, following an online policy process in which the party says more than 6,000 registered Liberals took part. When Liberal MPs first proposed a universal basic income last fall as their foremost policy priority for the convention, Trudeau didn't slam the door. But he did indicate a costly overhaul of the country's social safety net wasn't at the top of his to-do list in the middle of a pandemic that had already sent the federal deficit soaring in the stratosphere. Anyways, so they were already talking about, but let me get to the part because there's an actual Liberal MP introduces, or is it universal basic income bill? It might have been guaranteed. There it is. UBI works. There it is. Okay. So let me bring this one up here. There we go. Let's bring this up for you folks. Because like I say, okay. This one, I'm using the True North. Since I'm going through, I might as well use True North because they're a great alternative source. So here you go, folks. Right here. It wasn't just that they were studying it. A Liberal MP actually introduced it. So a Liberal MP introduces private members' bill to study universal basic income in Canada. This was February 27th, 2021, and I'll place a link to this in the description as well. A Liberal MP's private member's bill hopes to push the federal government to undergo a study in implementing guaranteed universal income in Canada. Bill C-273 was introduced by MP Julie Zersiewicz earlier this week, and according to her, she has the support of some members of the Liberal cabinet. I will tell you that I do know that there's cabinet ministers that are very supportive of basic income, Zersiewicz told the Huffington Post Canada. The bill, otherwise known as the National Strategy for a Guaranteed Basic Income Act, called on the Minister of Finance to develop a national strategy to assess implementation models for a guaranteed basic income program in Canada. Included in the proposed national strategy study is the directive to establish a universal basic income pilot project in the provinces and to create a framework of national standards to guide the implementation of a guaranteed basic income in any province. The bill received its first reading in the House of Commons on Monday. So once again, I'll place a link to this article in the description of the video below. Let me get back to the article. So once again, right on time. Everything's happening. Check. Okay. Projected COVID-19 mutation and/or co-infection with secondary virus referred to as COVID-21. Now, we haven't heard anyone referring to the variants or what they say, mutation or any of the variants as COVID-21. But I mean, the letter's leaked and they know it has because we've even seen CBC covers like trying to debunk this, right? Saying, no, this ain't real. It's not real. Look away, right? So there's a really good chance you're not going to use the terminology COVID-21 if it's kind of out there, right? But we definitely know there are variants. That's been reported on the news, and you can find that information all over. They just call it the South African variant, the Brazilian variant, the UK variant. You've heard it all, right? So back to it. Where'd it go? Secondary virus. Okay. Leading to a third wave with much higher mortality rates and higher rate of infection expected by February 2021. And we're definitely seeing out of Ontario, like the warnings, and I think even Quebec to a lesser extent, but definitely out of Ontario where they're saying, oh, there's a ramp up in hospitalizations and ECUs, and there's a 20% increase in patients in intensive care units. So, right? And it gets freaking worse here, folks, which is why I'm really hoping this is just some nutbar conspiracy theorists sitting with their tinfoil hat just making shit up, but they've been really, really super. That's the thing. If these are just a bunch of nutbars or conspiracy theorists, then damn, they seem to have the pulse of this stuff figured out, and their predictions, well, their crystal ball or their magic 8-ball, fuck, it's functioning really well. Okay, mortality. Okay, daily new case of COVID-21 hospitalizations in COVID-19 and COVID-21 related deaths will exceed medical care facilities capacity. Now, this isn't expected till Q1 to Q2. So we're seeing them talking about the rise of it. Q2, well, as you know, each quarter, so January to March, April to June, July to September, October to December. So we still have all of Q2. We haven't even hit. We're just barely going to be entering into April, and then we'll have April, May, and June. That'll be Q2. So we still got three months left for this to unfold. So be paying attention, folks. Be paying attention. I will be. I will be, even if no one else is. Okay, enhanced lock. Okay, where we at? Okay, yes, so we did that. Enhanced lockdown restriction, referred to as the third lockdown, will be implemented. Full travel restrictions will be imposed, including inter-province and inner city, expected Q2 2021. So that's going to be Q2. So like I say, we're just on the precipice of Q2. So TBD, right? TBD. Transitioning of individuals into the Universal Basic Income Program. Now, you remember they were talking about Universal Basic Income earlier and in Q1. But down here, you talk about the Universal Basic Income as in terms of transitioning of individuals into the Universal Basic Income Program. And it might be that first pilot program. We don't know that means everybody because it's not specified or specific in that way. But expected mid Q2. So this is quite specific. So they're not just talking about the quarter, but mid of the second quarter. So the middle of May, 15th, 16th, that would be mid Q2. So in and around there. Once again, don't know if any of this is true, but so far, projected. Listen to this one, folks. Hey, before I read this next one, Yeah, there's a big old ship. Not sure if you folks have been paying attention, but there's been a big old ship over there in the old Suez Canal that I don't know who the fuck was driving that bad boy, that big 25,000 container, huge motherfucking ship, right? But like, dude seemed, I don't know, was he trying to do donuts in the middle of the Suez? Oh, no, it was a big gust of wind. Oh, really? Pretty sure they figured all that stuff. Have you ever been to an airport where they got the big wind socks up there? And if it's real high winds, you tell people like, yeah, you got to hold off there. So obviously there must have been, it must have been seen that it was deemed safe enough, even though there was high wind. There was no one stopping or preventing the ships from traveling or traversing through the canal or the passway, right? The passage. So really weird. And the way it got stuck, just perfectly blocking the entire, like, once again, I'm not a conspiracy theorist and I never played one on TV, but even when I was listening to the way that whole story was unfolds, like, really though? Really? I don't know. Maybe. No, anything is possible. Like I say, anything's possible. But it's like, yeah, something smells fishy here. Right? Now, I haven't had salmon or anything. So, but it did seem weird to me. It really seemed weird. But anyway, so, and it wasn't just one ship with 25,000 containers, but one ship with 25,000 containers. And as a former truck driver, I got to tell you, those containers, whether it's the 50 or the 48-foot iteration, even the pups, the 32s, but no, for I would imagine for international travel, they're using all the big 48 to 53-foot trailers. And I can tell you, you can fit a lot of shit in a 53-foot trailer and a whole lot more than 25,000. And that's just one ship with hundreds and hundreds of other ships who have been waiting to get offloaded and get their cargo offloaded while days and days passed by while they were all being backed up. So anyways, back to the projected supply chain breakdowns, inventory shortages, large economic instability expected late Q2 2021. So once again, folks, if I was reading this, well, which I am, I'd want to be proactive and making sure that by the end of Q2, by June, make sure you got at least what you need. Right? The necessity in life, I would just suggest, and once again, just to, even if it proves to be absolutely farcical or bullshit, why not err on the side of caution, right? I sure as hell would. But anyways, that's just a little advice from little old me. The next one. Oh, the next one's not sounding good here, folks. It kind of gets worse. It gets much worse. As if you didn't think it was already bad enough. It gets worse. Deployment of military personnel into major metropolitan areas, as well as all major roadways to establish travel checkpoints, restrict travel and movement, provide logistical support to the area, expected by Q3 2021. Actually, I want to see where I started doing this so I can make sure. So probably about an hour and 10 minutes into it. I might download this bad boy and re-upload it again as a standalone video just for the heck of it, right? And put it on some of the alternative like Rumble and BitChute. Probably a good idea, right? I would think. Where was I at here? Restrict travel and movement, provide logistical support to the area expected by Q3. So that won't start till July. Well, July, August, September. That's Q3. So somewhere in around there. Along with that provided roadmap, the Strategic Planning Committee was asked to design an effective way of transitioning Canadians to meet an unprecedented economic endeavor. Now, this is the part where we're getting to the article I was referencing earlier. Let me just check, make sure I'm still live here. Okay, I'm still live. Still live. Hey, what's going on, everyone? I see Don's in the chat. Hey, Don, what's going on, my friend? Don Hicks, right? I'm used to John Hicks and Don Hicks. Don Hicks. Okay. Don Hicks. Cool. Where was that? To meet an unprecedented economic endeavor, one that would change the face of Canada and forever alter the lives of Canadians. What were I see the old, I'm back. I'm back. Okay, I got to get through this quick, folks. I got to get there. Was that in order to offset what was essentially an economic collapse on an international scale, that the federal government was going to offer Canadians a total debt relief. This is how it works. The federal government will offer to eliminate all personal debts, mortgages, loans, credit cards, etc., which all funding will be provided to Canada by the IMF under what will be known as the World Debt Reset Program. Intriguing. In exchange for acceptance of this total debt forgiveness, the individual would forfeit ownership of any and all property and assets forever. The individual would also have to agree to partake in the COVID-19 and COVID-19 vaccination schedule, which would provide the individual with unrestricted travel and unrestricted living even under full lockdown through the use of photo identification referred to as Canada's Health Pass. And once again, the Health Pass, that term may not ever be used now, right? I mean, right? The cat's out of the bag, right? The genie's out of the bottle. So that might never use, but we definitely know that there's vaccine passports that are not just being discussed or bantered or talked about. Hey, I see Gato joined the chat too. Thanks for joining. I see actually who else said share? Thank you very much. Hey, hi Gato. Hey Jay, creepy little girl. Share the channel. Thank you as well. Thanks for all you folks for all your help. Anyways, but yeah. So where are we at here? So we know the debt, or I mean the vaccine schedule and passports. It's not only just being bantered about, but it's actually reality, and it's already being unfolded in some areas like New York in the United States, and it's definitely being talked about in Canada. And you see it if you're paying attention to any of the media, the establishment hacks, they're definitely talking about this stuff today. So once again, sounds pretty fucked up, right? Sounds pretty messed up. And I'll get to this whole point when you're talking about the debt stuff and how China and Japan are two of the largest holders. The UK is third, I believe. But China and Japan are the two largest holders of debt for Americans and Canadians and such, right? So, right, giving them their property, give them all what you own, and they'll allow you to, we'll forgive the debts, but we got to own your shit. I mean, I know if I was on the other side and people owed me a shitload of money, it's like, yeah, well, if you can't pay up, well, I'm going to have to take your property or something. I got to get compensated in some way. So anyways, so be careful, all those you people out there have been buying up those big $1 million homes and thinking you're going to be, that might be ripped out right from underneath you at any time, right? And I know a lot of you out there are house poor because you just did. And your wife, right? It's like, all right, everyone wants to punch way above their weight and pretend that they're, much wealthier than they are. And I've seen so many of them when I was working in new home construction. Holy shit, that kind of stuff is rampant, and especially in some of the major urban and suburban areas of some of the largest, most populous provinces. Anyways, back to the okay. Asked to do one that would change it. Okay, where are we at here? This how we're okay. So we said that already. And assets forever. The individual would also have to agree to partake in the COVID-19 vaccination schedule. Oh, the health pass. Okay, so I made it all the way down there. Committee members asked who would become the owner of the forfeited property and assets in that scenario, and what would happen to lenders or financial institutions. We were simply told, sorry, folks, the World Debt Reset Program will handle all of the details. Several committee members also questioned what would happen to individuals if they refused to participate in the World Debt Reset Program or the Health Pass or the vaccination schedule. And we answered we got was troubling. Essentially, we were told it was our duty to make sure we came up with a plan to ensure that would never happen. We were told it was in the individual's best interest to participate. When several committee members pushed relentlessly to get an answer, we were told that those who refused would first live under the lockdown restrictions indefinitely, and that over a short period of time, as more Canadians transitioned into the debt forgiveness program, the ones who refused to participate would be deemed a public safety risk and would be relocated into isolation facilities. Once in those facilities, they would be given two options: participate in the debt forgiveness program and be released, or stay indefinitely in the isolation facility under the classification of a serious public health risk and have all their assets seized. So as you can imagine, after hearing all this, it turned into quite the heated discussion and escalated beyond anything I've ever witnessed before. In the end, it was implied by the PMO that the whole agenda will move forward no matter who agrees with it or not, that it won't just be Canada, but in fact, all nations will have similar roadmaps and agendas, that we need to take advantage of the situation before us to promote change on a grander scale for the betterment of everyone. The members who were opposed and ones who brought up key issues that would arise from such a thing were completely ignored. Our opinions and concerns were ignored. We were simply told to just do it. All I know is I don't like it, and I think it's going to place Canadians in a very dark future. Anyways, folks, so that's it. And like I say, covered this months ago, and that was done in October before I covered. Like I say, go check out the video of my live stream of October, and you'll see I've already covered this. And it was long before all this. Long before all this. So I mean, once again, I don't have no crystal ball. I'm not a fortune teller, and there's no such thing. So if someone is privy to this kind of knowledge, it's not because they're just guessing, or like I said, they're rubbing on their fucking magic 8-ball and getting these answers right, handed them. It's, to me, right, just by the law of deductive reasoning. And once again, don't know if this is true. I've never suggested for 1 second that I have any verifiable proof other than that letter, other than an alleged leak letter. I don't, once again, I can't verify it, can't back it up. I would love to have some names. I do know, I will just mention this. I will just one thing I will say about this, because I don't have to bring anything else into it. It was shared through a Proton Mail exchange. And as you're familiar, I do have a Proton Mail account, by the way. If you ever want to reach out to me and not use any typical lines of communication, you want something that's private and secure and encrypted end to end, Proton Mail is the only one. So if you want to reach out to me, you want to talk about anything, or if you want to whistleblow yourself, if you want to talk about anything, and I'm not a professional reporter, but I'll tell you, I hold myself to a professional standard. If you got something to say, or if you can back up or verify any of this stuff, you have any evidence or anything to offer, 100%, I would do my best. And like the whole, every step of the way, I will make sure that I'm as proactive as any professional could ever be, and learn or ask or seek out the advice of professionals to make sure I would protect any one of you, anybody, and I would never use your name, right? I would be just like a professional journalist would be, right? And I've watched and I've listened, and I know what pertains. I understand the legality and how these things work. So, but the fact that this was sent in an encrypted form in an email, once again, can't prove that it's true or not, but I mean, come on. Does that not stuff all sound like sounds pretty lining up? It sounds like everything's pretty much lining up, right? Hey, Sheila Gunn Reid, I see you guys are talking. Sheila Gunn Reid's great out there covering the fine pasture out in Alberta. I seen the latest story when he got out there, and it's so nice to see the religious folks, the people that are stand defiance of big government, because their authority, that's the thing. That's why, like I said, I got a special place right here for the religious people. Not all, mind you. I'm an individual based guy. I deal with individuals, but I typically know, as a general rule of thumb, that people who are genuinely religious, right, their authority is God, not government. And I got to tell you, right here, because God is not nearly as vile, evil, despicable, contradictory, and sociopathic, right? Or at least the pretense of the premise, right? Nothing like the fallible human beings that are in charge or in authority today, right? So big fans of many people in the religious community. And even though, like I said, closely aligned in relationship, my wife is an atheist, folks. So it's, again, I do me, she does her. I don't impose myself on her. She don't impose herself on me. We that's the beauty. I love it. And you know what? It's worked out well for me. It can work out for other people. You don't have to love religious people. You don't even have to love atheists, right? But if you can find individuals that take some of the great premises and ideas of things that you don't even agree with, and they find a way that makes it work good for them in their life, and they can universalize out to the point where it seems like that's conducive. Hey, I can adopt that. I can copy and paste that in my own life, and it'll work out basically the same way. Like I say, we don't have to constantly reinvent the wheel every time, right? There's a lot of hard work and effort went in to give us some great moral teachings and some ethics without needing big government or politician or the legal class to determine or dictate what that's all about. And that's where the religious community has come in and has done so in spades. And once again, really appreciative of that. And I'm really appreciative of those the church pastors and the people across the entire country and across the whole world who are standing in defiance of big government authoritarianism, these mandates and these edicts, defying them, and even being willing, like Pastor James Coates, to go to jail, spend 35 days in a maximum security remand center for doing nothing more. And this charge was just a fine. There's no jail time in terms of the punitive action for the fine, but the sheer fact that he defied the orders and he continued to defy them, they threw the man in a goddamn cell for doing so. But you know what? I don't know if you heard the story, and thanks for Rebel and all you great folks that did cover that story. He came out on the other side of it. He's okay. But I think he even had a great positive influence in a lot of people that were in that institution of facility, because it seemed like when he left there like a rock star, where they were all banging their cages, something akin to like a movie, like something that you would see in a Hollywood blockbuster movie, right? Where all the people in there supporting that guy and rattling their cages and their bars and showing their support and solidarity with that man. So I think it kind of backfired on the state, right? You sent this very kind-hearted, this gentle natured human being that's obviously caring and has a lot of compassion for his fellow man. You send him into a prison in one of these places, and what you didn't break his spirits, you didn't break the man, and the people in there didn't cause him. Not only did the people in there not cause him any harm, but most of them gained a tremendous amount of respect for him, and maybe even some of the guards. I don't know a whole lot. I don't know hold out a whole lot of faith for those folks, but hey, at least the inmates, right? And hey, maybe a few of the guards, maybe a few of the ones in the organization realize that, wait a minute. I mean, I could just think of myself now. You imagine in a jail or a prison, like, so what are you in for? I opened my church and we had a big congregation and we all sat and praised the Lord and sang songs. Like, no, seriously, what are you in for, man? Like, quit fucking around. What are you, comedian, part-time or something? No, I'm fucking serious. All they did was hold a church service. And they told me I wasn't allowed to. And I said, well, the God is my authority. I know, but you don't get to tell me if I can have it. And that's why I'm here. Right? Could you imagine even a hardened criminal, even a hardened convict, right? It'd be like, you got to be fucking joking. All right, I got your back, bro. Right? You know what I mean? Know what I mean? Know what I mean? Yeah, you know what I mean. So, but yeah, this is all crazy stuff. But like I say, really happy and thankful to see that there's some positive signs. And I think the word is getting out there. I'm even seeing when I'm scrolling through my Facebook feed and seeing like CBC, CTV posts, I'm actually finally seeing even some of the majority of the comments, because typically you got a lot of indoctrinated statists parroting or regurgitating the same political talking points. But I'm even starting to see where that's changing, where even the commenters are like, nah, fuck you, CBC, you lying bastards, propagandists, bullshitters. It's like, damn, even on their own page, you're starting to see that. That's a pretty positive sign. That's probably why the people who are the authorities in charge, that's probably why they're doubling down hardcore now, right? To try to silence and suppress any voice like mine or yours, is because they realize they're not just losing, they've lost the information. They've lost the moral standing, their ethical standing, any pretense of benevolence. They've lost it all entirely. So all they got left now is, let's just pull the old hammer, right? Government is force. And when your whole representation is force, and it's just like every problem, if you got a hammer, better look like a nail. And that's what the government's going around now, just trying to beat down the nails. But once again, for every nail they think they're going to knock down, 10 more is going to pop up, right? So glad to see all this take place. And I'm going to tie this video up. We're already an hour and 41 minutes in it. We've already had lots of disruptions. I've had to shut down a couple times. And you folks have the patience of a God, and thank you very much for all you do. And hopefully the day will come where I'll be able to do this stuff and stream in a much better manner and not cause so much aggravation for you fine folks on the other end of it. So like I say, have a great day. I'll definitely give you lots of warning in advance before I set up my next live stream. And hopefully you'll be there to join me. But make sure you're paying attention to what's going on out there. Be proactive. And like I say, make sure you're doing what yourself, so that when the day comes, you're like, whoo, glad I managed to be protected or save myself in case that ultimate event come to fruition, right? Just put yourself in a position, be proactive, and get close with the people you're close with, get even closer. You know, the people in your community that maybe you're like, I've been kind of contemplating, do I want to go and introduce myself to my neighbor and try to be friendly? Don't wait any longer. Step up now, right? Because like I say, we're going to get the point, I imagine, or I expect, where the closer people in your community, the people that are actually in your physical composition and makeup or proximity, are the people that you're going to have to rely on. So yeah, build some good relationships with people in your community. Keep your long-standing friendships, healthy and vibrant. The family members that respect you and you respect them, keep them close at heart. And like I say, every chance you get, try your best to try to interject yourself in a polite and positive manner to help educate and inform people in the kind of things that we all firmly understand and grasp as it pertains. We got the entirety of any conflict, and not even without hopefully, I mean, doesn't mean it won't happen. And if you do have to, definitely don't refrain from it. Someone's going to use force on you, definitely protect yourself. But hopefully, for the most part, we can do this through intellectual evolution and just getting people's minds up to speed and up to date. And if that can happen, yeah, the sky's the limit, and we're going there, folks. We're going there. But yeah, thanks for all you folks that joined the stream. We'll see you in the next one. Canadian Libertarian. You know I love liberty, and I know you folks do as well.